I'm really humbled and honored that each one of you are here. You are part of my journey. You are part of claiming my power and facing my inner critics and saying, guess what? I belong here and I can create my own table. When one is not provided, we just create our own and we say, I got something to say. And that's what today is all about. I got something to say. And it's not for me, it's for you. And that is my goal and that is my intent, that you walk away today with something new that will support you in being your best self and your best friend. Yes, I am a transformation expert. And when I looked back at my marketing career, I realized, man, I kept jumping on the brands when they were on the decline. It was like they had their heyday, and then here I come, and the team is a bit demoralized, and where do we go from here? How do we grow this brand? And I did that work, and then I started my business in 2018, and that work continues. People come to me when they're like, how do I transform? How do I get to the next level? How do I up level? This is the work that I do. To get to the next level, to reach a new plane for yourself or for your business. This requires two different kinds of perspectives. The first is that we gotta zoom way out. And oftentimes we really have to look back and say, where have we been? Every brand I step on, that's what I gotta do. Where has this brand been? Where have you been? And then where do you wanna go? And zoom way out and dream big. Then we have to zoom in. We have to zoom in and say, well, what are those micro steps? Those uncomfortable little moves, those decisions, the no that usually was a yes, or the yes that used to be a no. How do we make a new decision for transformation? And that is where the muckety muck is. And so we have to zoom out, but we have to zoom in and do it both ways. As it relates to career development, and insert whatever you're working on in your life right now. Because the bedrock of the work that we have to do in wherever we're trying to go and up-level our lives is inner critic work. And that's why I'm thrilled to talk to you about inner critic work. You see, we have to go to the bedrock of transformation. We can't stay at the surface level, because a wobbly house will remain a wobbly house if the foundation isn't strong and built right and built according to your style and your alignment. So we're not dealing with cosmetic. Inner critic work is the deepest layer, so that as you build your skyscraper, whatever that looks like for you, that it is built with a strong foundation that will not crumble. So, what are inner critics? Inner critics are the voices in our head, the narratives, the inner dialogue that keep us small, that keep us hidden, that keep us from the love that we deserve rightfully just by breathing on this earth right now. The inner critic may sound like, don't talk to him, he does not like you, it's not going to be worth it. He or she may also sound like, don't even try that promotion, you're not qualified. Go do it. It may even sound like, you, inner critic speaker? I don't think so. But we're blasting all that away today. We like to think that maybe our inner critic started when we were like, 20, we had that bad teacher, But they go way far back. They go back often to the very beginning of our childhood. For me, I don't remember my life without inner critics. That's why I'm passionate about it. You see, I was born with a visible birth defect called cleft lip and palate. And so I came out the room different, I came out looking different. And from the very beginning of any kind of interaction I ever had with kids was they come up to me and say, well, why do you look like that? And I'd say to them, I was born this way. This was before Lady Gaga, so I had it figured out. I had a channel, But then they would walk away. because they didn't want to know more about me. They didn't want to go below the surface. And that was heartbreaking. That was heartbreaking. It created a lot of sensitivity for me around people. Are you for me or are you against me? Are you with me or are you gonna stab me in the back? You gonna make fun of me on the playground? You gonna whisper about me? You gonna stare at me? Right? You could see. This creates sensitivity. It also created sensitivity around how other people were feeling because I knew how I was feeling. And so what happens? Protection. We protect our hearts. I protected my heart because it was so hard to feel those feelings. And I know I'm not the only one that has these kinds of feelings of not belonging, of feeling less than, feeling like I don't matter. I remember the day that I decided to put up my walls in a big way. My father had to come to school to deal with a bullying incident, and I could sense the dread and the discomfort and the disdain. That's my interpretation in that moment. And I was like, oh no, I don't want to feel this way. And from that moment, I decided to keep my problems small. I kept my challenges small because I didn't want to be a burden either. I didn't want to put him in a situation where he felt uncomfortable. So I kept my joy buried along with my challenges, because that's what happens. I kept my problems small, but I kept my wins small too. I didn't give myself permission to celebrate or honor that. I just was like, hello, rugged individualism. For years and years and years. But that's what we do. How do you keep yourself small? And what is it costing you? The other thing that happens when we start protecting is we move in a whole nother direction. Okay, how do I stay safe from this? Hello, distraction. Hello, overdoing. Hello, avoidance. That's what I did. I put myself into everything that I could to avoid feeling the ways that I didn't want to feel. School, it was drama, it was sports, it was all the extra things. As soon as I could start working at 17, it was all the hours that I could take, so that when I got home, I was just exhausted and I would just go to sleep versus feel something. Because who wants to feel the things that really hurt? I get it. But that's the way through. The feelings are the way through, but I didn't know that then. So, the overdoing of everything. In my friendships, in school. In my friendships, it would be overgiving. I'm giving 80% and 80%, 90%, 100%. So I could show my value and prove my worth. Because it seemed like when I walked into places, it wasn't okay to just be me. Today, it's okay to just be me. And the proving energy is, I'm going to show you what I can do. The proving energy is, I'm going to show you that you are wrong and you are going to wish that you were my friend. I live my life that way. I wasn't work that way. Let me show you how smart I am. Because if I can't be pretty, well, I'll be smart. Proving energy. What does it cost? What does it feel like to be in proving energy? Versus, I am enough. Take it or leave it. The proving is, it comes with really big implications. It drains you. I was drained. I was giving, and I was giving, and I was giving. I didn't have anything left for myself. The proving energy puts you in spaces where you actually don't want to be. What is proving energy costing you? And then, well, what do? We've got these inner critics, we've got these limiting beliefs, we make ourselves small, and then, hello, corporate America, here I am. They are in these environments where they're not there to lift us up. Maybe for you it's corporate, maybe for you it's some familial environments, maybe it's community environments, but then what happens is we get into these places and spaces that there are hotbeds for our inner critics to just grow in strength. Corporate environments where it's power over, where there's winners and there's losers. It's, I'm going to step over anybody to get to where I want to be. Can you imagine what happens when we are not grounded in who we are, where we're in these environments that don't want to support who we are? So there I was in corporate, dealing with my inner critics, dealing with these unhealthy environments. And what do? Let me tell you, the number one thing that we have to do is we have to stand in our truth. We have to stand in who we are. And we have to pay more attention to our internal than the external. What does it mean if it's not about you? Because I walked around my whole life, everything felt personal. Everything was about me, right? And the number one tip that I give to people is don't make it about you, because it's not. Nobody's thinking about you like you are thinking about you. Everybody else is running around with their inner critics. Everybody else is in these complex, corporate environments trying to figure it out, trying to, make it to the next rung of the ladder. So most of the time, it's not about you. And I think that means something to how we then can go inward and look at ourselves and say, how is this impacting me? What is this making me feel? And what wound is this bringing up? Because that's what those triggers are. They're just showing you, oh, hey, this still needs some healing. Oh, hey, here's some opportunity here. Because your inner critic comes up when the wound is triggered. And so staying solid in that. I'm going to give an example of what can happen when we make it about us. My husband happens to be in the audience today. Love him dearly. He's been in training for 19 years with me. When we first met in grad school, I was going after really, aggressive jobs. I wanted I wanted multinational companies to get my marketing career started, all the things, right? And it was really hard to get those jobs because I didn't go to Ivy League. I went to Michigan State, go green. Glad I went there. I met my husband, obviously. But I called him and I was like, oh my gosh, I got the job. I got the job with Kimberly-Clark. I was so excited. And he says to me, oh, wow. They must have had trouble finding candidates. Now, you can imagine, right? Like punch to the gut, right? Like, oh, it wasn't about me. It wasn't about me. It was how he was processing the world. He was trying to make sense of how do people get jobs? How do people not get opportunities? All the things, right? I don't know. To this day, I don't know how he processes things. But the truth is that for years and years and years, I was looking for the bias to confirm that my own husband didn't believe in me, in my skills, in my smarts, in my capacity, right? I was doing that to myself. I was telling myself that my own husband doesn't believe in me. It's not about you. It's never about you. I had to go inside and say, what is happening here that I need to fix? Thank you, therapy. Thank you, coaching. Because I couldn't do it on my own. And here's the thing. There's a lot of ambitious people in this room. I know a lot of you. And there's some myths that are out there about inner critic work that I'm going to debunk right now. So for those of you who kind of identify with, well, that voice that tells me to get up and do the thing, that motivates me. That's why I'm where I'm at. I'm going to debunk that for you. And there may be others of you that say, well, the parts of me that keep me small at work, where I don't share myself, where I don't let people know this is going on, or that I actually have this side hustle, that I'm just going to hide because that is helpful for me to survive and thrive in these environments. I'm going to tell you why these are myths that we must not believe. Here's my proof point of why these things that you think are serving you are not. When I was 22, after my dozen or so surgeries, when I was ready to get on with my life and look forward to a grad school or something, I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. Yay! No. Let me tell you what it taught me. What it taught me is there are mental and physical consequences to the way we are treating ourselves. Type 1 showed me, girl, you need to stop what you're doing, beating yourself up every step of the way. This is not serving you. It's not helping you. Your body needs a break from this. It took me a long time to be like, why? Why? But I know now. I know now. It also taught me something else. It taught me not to freaking hide and spend all this energy hiding. Because you know what I did? I hid that I had type 1 for years. Years. There's shame. There's feelings that somebody might think you're weak. All these different things. Why hide? But I hid because I just wanted to be strong. And what I didn't honor in myself was that's what made me strong. Is that I can deal with the psychological impact of having to think about everything that I eat and how much of this medicine do I have to take every single time I eat. That's not something most people have to think about. And because I hid this thing, I denied my power. How do you deny your power? Because it deserves its light. So those are the myths. Now, what happens with these inner critics is they're there. Sometimes they come to the forefront. Sometimes they stay in the back. Sometimes different ones show up at different times in our life, right? I had that food inner critic that showed up all the time. Like, if that's not a piece of lettuce, you shouldn't be putting it in your mouth. That's what I was dealing with for years and years. To this day, sometimes. Should I have the pasta? Always have the pasta, by the way. I'm just saying. Thank God for insulin. But you couple that with this but I also am awesome, right? Because y'all wouldn't be in this room if you weren't doing some things, if you haven't made it. You've accomplished a lot. All parts of your life, family, career, all the things, right? But this creates the conflict, whether we know it or not. It's like I'm a badass. And am I good enough? Do I matter? This was the battle of my life until 2018. And in 2018, I said, am I actually living my best life? Am I actually living the life that I want? Because trust, I got some plans. I don't want to leave this earth until I know I've given everything. And then, hello, scarcity inner critic. Because what I realized is that in order for me to figure out what else is possible for my life, I gotta actually quit my job. Have a lot of job identity stuff, right? It was just like giving it my all. So the only thing I knew was, I don't know what's possible for my life, but I'm ready to figure that out. And yeah, I quit my job. But let me tell you, scarcity inner critic was run rampant, right? Scarcity inner critic was like, you should not leave a job without another job. Now guys, this is like 2018. This is pre-COVID. This shit is like in vogue right now. Yeah, quit your job. Figure your life out. Go live with your parents. No, nobody was saying that when I was looking at my life. But here's the truth about inner critics. They actually love us. They love us. Are they trying to keep us small? Are they trying to keep us from getting everything we want? No, because our inner critics are a part of us. And I really learned this lesson through my clients, because I would talk to my clients' inner critics, and I realized, gosh, they love you. So why are they here? To protect. To protect. My appearance inner critic was protecting me from being in spaces where I wasn't going to be loved. My food inner critic kept me safe from continuing to beat myself up in all the ways, to have even more health challenges, keeping me safe from that. And my scarcity inner critic was keeping me safe from feeling like I don't know who I am, because my whole life I was so wrapped up in my job identity. What is your inner critic keeping you safe from? So we've debunked some myths. We know, okay, our inner critics actually love us. When I went to quit my job, scarcity inner critic was loud and proud. Not only because she was trying to keep me safe from disappointment, safe from financial ruin, all the things, but she was also operating on a really old definition of success. She was operating on consistent paycheck, a job that people will pat you on the back for because it sounds awesome. I mean, hello, Absolute Vodka. Gotta like that. And the success metric of knowing exactly where you're gonna go before you take the next step. But I didn't define success that way. Underneath all of that, and trust me, it took me several months to understand what actually did I want to define my life success by. Was it all of this stuff? Was it don't quit a job without another job? No. It took coaching and a lot of excavation to realize, no, you know what I actually believe in is I measure success by how often I'm able to travel, how often I'm able to honor that. I actually want to be there for my friends when they're struggling. I want to measure success by I am not leaving anything on the table when I leave this world. I want to measure success by I showed up and I showed out. I want to measure success in that I am not living somebody else's life, somebody else's success metrics. I get to define my own. And when we do that, when we define success to ourselves, for ourselves, watch out. The magic is coming. And to really harness that magic, we tell a new narrative. We have to tell it to ourselves over and over and over again. And we have to tell it to the world over and over and over again. We have to look back and say, what is the narrative I'm telling that's not serving me? Oh, I got fired from that job. You learned you did not belong there. And there were other things for you out there. You just had a little nudge in the process. You know what I'm saying? How do we rewrite our narratives that serve us versus beat ourselves up? And this isn't about marketing. This isn't about let me find the silver lining. No, this is about honor what is true in that experience and how it served you and how it made you better and how it's going to help you with where you are going. We get to define our future. In February, I was in a meeting and I said, I am a global speaker because I am. We have to do that for ourselves, day in and day out. Every time the inner critic comes in, delete. No, we're not going down that rabbit hole. I'm going somewhere else today. But you gotta be consistent and persistent with it. I'm going on 44 years. This month, by the way. But we have to tell ourselves a new narrative. And it's the miracles. I can't explain it. It's the unexpected that happens, right? Like, I have a couple examples. I just love some of my clients. They inspire me so much. And this guy, John, this client of mine, John, we'll call him John. His name is not really John. He came to me and he was really stressed out, right? He had a side business for 17 years. And he had a lot of anxiety around it. He wanted to find his motivation for that business again. Well, we did this work and we found out his inner critics were telling him that success looked like holding on to that baby for the rest of his life. Like, if it's not growing, you're not successful. Like, selling it's not success. Quitting's not success. And he realized actually what he really wanted. And what he wanted is to pursue new dreams and pursue new things. But he was holding on to this thing he thought he was supposed to hold on to because his inner critic was telling him. Within 6 months, this is where the miracles come in, he sold his business. He made plans to live in warm weather during the winter, which he had been wanting to do for years. And he pursued other passions. He just did a training in Canada, actually, for something he was really passionate about. He felt such relief from just letting a thing go that was no longer serving in his life. I mean, this is what's possible when we tell new narratives. Another woman that comes to mind, her name is Melinda, supposedly. And Melinda, she came to me, she wanted to really work on her true confidence as a leader. And she really wanted to be a better leader. She said, I show confidence to my team, but it's kind of not real because I still question myself. All right, we'll work on this. And we did the work around these things and we realized, and by the way, she had a really challenging relationship with her boss. Think about it, we all have challenging relationships, right? But we did the work to realize what she was doing was when things got really tough in her job and timelines got tight and things, she would revert back to a leadership style that she actually wasn't aligned with, which was that big stick leadership style. That like, you need to get this thing done, as opposed to what was really aligned for her was kindness and compassion and having open dialogue about what's happening here, as opposed to, power over. Now, her relationship with her boss is completely different. Completely transformed, not because the boss transformed, she transformed herself. She worked on her inner critics. And she saw that specific situation in which that inner critic would come in and say, this is what leadership looks like. And she broke that pattern to honor her leadership style. Well, that's magic because that is, 40 some years in the making for her of going back to that stick and then eroding trust with her employees every single time. That's not what she wanted. So, just a few examples. If I'm not one standing up here in front of you, then take it from my clients and their truth. Okay, here's my favorite part, really. So we're telling new narratives, we're saying goodbye to our inner critics, we're shifting our relationship with them because we know that they actually love us. Wow, let me love on my inner critic because she didn't get some things when she was 5. I'm going to give it to her now. And I'm going to marry the right one who's going to help me support that 5-year-old. Your confidence rises to the surface when you do this work. You ain't got to work on your confidence. There's nothing to work on your confidence. No, you work on the inner critic stuff. You work on the new narratives, and your knowing and your truth and your confidence is going to rise to the top. You know that line? Oh, I really hate this line. Fake it till you make it. No, there is no such thing on this earth as fake it till you make it. You are never faking anything. You are stepping into the new opportunity, the new job, the new relationship with all that you come with, all that you bring, all your experience. You ain't faking shit. You're bringing your intuition to the table. You're bringing your knowing. You're bringing your experience, even if it doesn't look like theirs. Doesn't matter. They need it there. You wouldn't be there in that moment if you didn't belong there with your skills, with who you are, with your trials and your tribulations. That's what your confidence knows. Your confidence knows you belong in that room. You better be there. Your confidence knows you ain't got nothing to prove. You just gotta breathe the air and let it in. Your confidence knows your trials became your triumphs. Your confidence knows you were not here to stay small. You were here to play big. You were here to dream your dream. There's nowhere else you're supposed to be but that room. So you can take your stupid fake it till you make it and stuff it. I ain't faking nothing. All of this is about moving through. It's moving through, not around. Moving through the emotions. Feel it. Trust. You won't stay in it. You're gonna move through it. It's gonna shift. It's gonna transform. But the reason why we're not moving to where exactly we wanna be is because we are stopping ourselves. Because we have to move through it, not around it. I love, Danielle, she teaches the boot camp class right in this space. She knows about moving through. You know why? Because I'll be pulling out that 15-pounder. I got this. She's like, you better get that 20. You better get that 25. Right. Because you don't go around the pain. You choose it. So that next time when you lift up that 25, that's a piece of cake. I got it. That's what this work is. You may come back around to the same things over and over like I do. I come back around to this. Do I matter? Am I enough? Am I pretty enough to be in this room? I come back to that sometimes. But I've been lifting weights for a long time. And it gets easier. So, let today be the day. Let today be the day. You say, goodbye, inner critic. Hello, confidence. Let today be the day you say, I'm not settling anymore. I'm going to say yes to that. I'm going to say yes to the discomfort. I'm going to say yes to meeting that person on the other side of the room that I'm just digging their vibe. Because why not? Because I'm feeling something. Say hi. Let today be the day you say, I can be better. I can do better. Because it's not just about you. It's about everybody that you come into contact with. You make the world a better place because you're showing up in your real, authentic, true self that is unapologetic about your confidence. And you show up into spaces and you change those spaces because you're reacting differently to those spaces. Because you have a little bit more empathy for maybe their inner critic that's running amok and leaking out onto you. That's why I love this work. Because I know the people that I work with, the teams, the individuals, whatever, I know it's not just about them. That they're going to go back into the world and they're going to make it a better place. I know that sounds a little cliche, y'all, but that's what I believe. Go make it better. These corporate environments, these competitive environments, it's rough. But I know that you can withstand those storms as long as you can stand in your truth. And you hold your boundaries and you say, this is how I demand to be treated. And this is how I demand to be paid. And if you're not about that, well, I'm just gonna keep it moving because I got a career coach that's gonna help me with my storytelling. He gonna find a way. So I'm just grateful that you guys were here because I know everybody here has something else that they gotta do that maybe they haven't been doing yet. So let today be the day you say, goodbye, inner critic. I'm banking on confidence. Thank you.